Before we jump into today's show, the NFL Draft is less than a month away, and make us your Broncos Draft home for all things targets, rumors, buzz, all the good stuff related to the upcoming NFL Draft. We'll have you covered, so stay tapped in when you are subscribed to the channel. Now, without further ado, let's talk about some new Broncos trade rumors. Round of applause for myself, you, and I for not talking about Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, but for once we're talking about trading for a player. Well, CBS Sports included the Broncos as a landing spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Devin White. The former 5th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. He's got 1 year left on his rookie contract, so would not cost much to acquire him salary-wise, but I do wonder what the cost to land him in a trade could look like. So the Bucs could be looking to reset, right, post-Tom Brady era. Maybe they want to stockpile assets and move on from players that they're going to have to pay soon, and they're not interested in doing so. Devin White has been a good linebacker. Just that. He's been a good linebacker. Has he been a great 5th overall pick? Not necessarily. I mean, 5.5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Those are good numbers, right? I don't know if those are top 5 in the draft kind of numbers here. PFF last year, by the way, they ripped him a new one. They ranked him as the 74th best linebacker in football out of 81. If he wasn't picked 5th overall, I don't think we would be talking about this player as a fun trade target. He's had some good seasons. He's gone to the Pro Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl. But last year, he showed that he might not be the best in coverage, a grade of 47.6. Awesome at finding the quarterback in the backfield, 71.0. But his run defense, not stellar for being the green dot in the middle of the field, an overall grade of 45.5. I've got 2 real big issues or hurdles when it comes to trading for Devin White. One, you just signed Alex Singleton to a 3-year, $18 million contract. You know it took George Paton a lot to come to terms with giving a linebacker that much money in 2023 when the position becomes more and more watered down as teams pass it more and you need less run-stopping linebackers, which doesn't really help the case for trading for Devin White, who isn't stellar in coverage. My second biggest issue, and maybe the biggest one of all, what is Denver going to offer, right? If the Bucs are looking for a premium-ish pick for a up-and-coming, young, good linebacker, I'm not quite sure if 67 overall is going to get it done. Now, the Broncos linebacker room, do they need Devin White? I don't think so. I mean, if we're just going off last year, Josey Jewell and Alex Singleton were better linebackers. Alex Singleton was by far one of the most underrated linebackers in football last year. As for Josey Jewell, I always thought when he was playing, he was a very key contributor. Was he healthy 100% of the time? Not necessarily, but I still think that he has a lot of upside, and I don't know if Denver really needs to give up, 20% of their draft capital to go out and get another linebacker. Now, Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports, here's what he wrote on trading for Devin White, whichever team it could be. A polarizing 4-year starter for Tampa Bay, White is an athletic freak who's drawn high remarks from Coach Todd Bowles and posted gaudy numbers from the position. But he's entering a contract year and could command near record money despite middling grades as coverage man. I don't know if he's going to get record money, but he might get a good chunk of change. So with that being said, here's what I want to ask everyone watching right now. Would you trade for Devin White? Simple as that. T for trade or P for pass. Do you think the Broncos should go out and make a trade for the former 5th overall pick out of Tampa Bay? Sound off in the comment section below. This is the pinned comment, so if YouTube comes on by with an ad break, take advantage of it and get your votes in. I would do it if it was Candyland, right? And you're putting together a Madden roster and you want to have loads of depth and talent all over the place. But George Paton, I don't think, has the assets with only 5 picks in this NFL draft. That's the second fewest, by the way, for any team in this upcoming draft. Or the future money, right? He spent a lot of money to the tune of $200+ million. Does he want to trade for a player that he would have to give a big contract to next offseason when he's already paid a lot of guys and he's got the whole Russell Wilson contract situation? hanging over his head? I don't think so. So it's not likely. I don't really know why CBS Sports picked Denver. To me, it doesn't sound like a very good landing spot for Devin White. Okay, next up on the show, ESPN dropped a new full 7-round mock draft. So we are going to run through this mock draft and see who they have the Broncos taking with their 5 picks. I mean, listen, the draft simply is not as fun when you don't pick in round 1. You can get by if you only pick in round 2, but having to wait till round 3, yeah, that's going to be tough to sell. But you know what? They will make at least, I think, 5 selections. Actually, that kind of is a nice segue to this. My prediction when it comes to the draft is that either pick 67 or 68 is going to get traded. When they only got 5 picks in this draft, I could easily see them looking to move back in the draft, try to get some more picks with one of these 2 back-to-back picks. Maybe like a future 3rd for next year and a 4th and a 6th for this year, right? Similar to the Colts deal they did last season. All right, let's not make you guys wait any longer. Let's get right into it, though. ESPN's mock draft, in round 3, pick 67, they go Zach Harrison, edge rusher, defensive end out of Ohio State. So let's talk a little bit about the Buckeye here. 6'5", 275 pounds. That is great size to see if you are a scout. He's got the physical tools. You can kind of check that box. NFL.com, not very highly rated of Zach Harrison. They gave him a prospect grade of 5.97. And then in their little key, 5.97 equals out to average backup or special teamer. It's not really what you're looking for in round 3, right? Dane Brugler at The Athletic, he does a great job with his draft coverage. He had Harrison 74th on his top 100 big board, so he thinks a little bit higher of ESPN because that's not really what you do with 74th player on your big board is special teamer or a good backup. But Harrison last year for Ohio State, 34 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. The year before, 3 forced fumbles. In his career, though, at Ohio State, over 4 seasons, he put up great numbers. 58 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. So he really knew how to get to the quarterback, and he knew how to disrupt the quarterback without a doubt. Now, Jordan Reed, in his write-up when it came to Zach Harrison, here's what he said. The Broncos need help off the edge, and 6'5" Harrison is a long and intriguing defender. He still needs polish as a pass rusher, but his traits are worth betting on in hopes of unlocking the next stages of his development. He never topped 3.5 sacks in a season in 4 tries for the Buckeyes, but he could be a better pro in the right system. The current front 5 for Denver right now does need some extra pass rushers, right? If/when Randy Gregory goes down, who's the next guy up? Is it Nick Bonito? I'm not quite sold on him being ready to step into a larger role. Baron Browning, if he's your number 1 pass rusher, are you comfortable with that, right? If he's the number 1 guy to get after the quarterback, is that a defense you believe can be successful? If the answer is even, I'm not sure, maybe you should answer yes to this next question here, which is, should the Broncos draft a pass rusher first in this upcoming draft? They are razor thin, in my opinion. If Randy Gregory plays 17 games, him and Baron Browning and hopefully an improving Nick Bonito can make a very good trio right there. But if you lose Randy Gregory for some weeks and Bonito's not ready for a larger role and everything falls on Baron Browning's shoulders, that could be an issue for the rest of the defense. Moving on to their second pick, it is pick 68. It is Tyrique Stevenson, cornerback out of Miami. Former top 50 recruit for Georgia initially before transferring to the U. 6 foot, 198 pounds. So an aggressive man corner with good size right there. His NFL.com prospect grade is 6.24. Now, that equals out to will eventually be an average starter. In case you're wondering, their pro comp was James Bradberry. So I think Denver would be very happy if they knew they were drafting a James Bradberry in the 3rd round. He also came in at 69th on Brugler's top 100 big board. That made producer Coop laugh, and he doesn't give a shit about the Broncos mock draft. So you know this has to be a good pick right now. His career stats over 4 years, 2 with Georgia, 2 with Miami, 78 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 21 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Now, here was the write-up on Stevenson from ESPN. With back-to-back selections early in round 3, the Broncos should address their lack of depth at cornerback behind Pat Surtain. Stevenson would give Denver an aggressive man coverage corner who can play on the outside or slide into the slot. So I kind of like that last little tidbit right there. K'Waun Williams, he's got 1 year left on his contract. If you want to draft a corner and have the flexibility of you can be outside, or you could start to grow a bit of a young core of Pat Surtain, Damari Mathis, and Stevenson. Have Damari Mathis on the outside and Stevenson on the inside, or whatever the best combination is. That could be something you could get behind if you're George and Sean Payton. Now, what you should get behind are these draft hats, right? The NFL released the official 2023 NFL draft caps. I'm a big fan of them. I've heard somewhat mixed reviews. I like them personally. If you agree with me and you want to get your own Broncos draft hat, use our link, chatsports.com/Broncos draft. I put that link in the comments and the description of today's show as well. Moving on here, some other mock draft grades or mock draft results. This is John Gaines out of UCLA in round 4. In round 5, it is going to be Zach Evans, running back from Ole Miss. And then following that in round number 6, we'll just kind of rattle them off here, it is Ryan Hayes, offensive tackle from Michigan. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Gaines and Hayes, no offense, but day 3 offensive linemen, you just hope they're big, they're mean, and they're nasty. But we got a skill position player. Okay, so Zach Evans coming out of Ole Miss, when you look at what he's done the last 2 years, compared to 2021 to 2022, 12 games for the Rebels, 936 yards, 6.5 yards per tote, 10 total touchdowns. Now, here's what the write-up was on Evans, who Jordan Reed said was his favorite pick in round 5. Running back Zach Evans to the Broncos, 139. Evans could go higher than his selection as NFL scouts have mixed opinions on his outlook. In Denver, with uncertainty of Javonte Williams, who is coming off a severe knee injury, Evans would enter a situation in which there are carries available. History has shown Sean Payton loves versatile runners who can be used not only as a threat in the run game, but as a playmaker in the passing game. Evans would bring upside at multiple spots in the Broncos' new offense. We kind of know Denver's going to pick a running back, right? I can't guarantee other positions for sure. I almost want to say edge rusher's a lock. It pretty much is. But running back, I feel like, is going to be a pick because no one in April is going to know when Javonte Williams returns. So you should be a good Boy Scout and be prepared and plan for the worst and prepare to not have Javonte Williams for at least half of 2023. And if that's the case, I don't think Samaje Perine is going to be a good bell cow back who can take carries on first, second, and third down, work in the passing game, and also do some run blocking as well. He might need someone to come in and let him catch his breath. So grade ESPN's mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I get it. There's only 5 picks. It's hard to feel very confident or very passionate or strongly one way or the other. I don't know. I'm going to give it a B-. I don't want to get ESPN get too big of an ego because they couldn't even get all the pick numbers to teams right in this new mock draft. So a bit embarrassing for the folks in Bristol. I mean, me here, we never make mistakes. It's never happened before. I don't know what you're talking about if you're referring to some graphical errors. Never been seen before here at the Broncos Breakdown. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll sign off and see everyone later with more Broncos news and rumors.